As I was saying, we need a social democratic republic with, of course, a capitalist economic system and with as many of our fundamental individual as well as group freedoms protected. Now, the reason why I think this is the best system is that it allows for other systems to be tried and to function within it. If people are so dedicated to the idea of socialism, they should try it. A lot of the people who are obsessed with it are some of the richer folks in America. A lot of just wealthy upper class people, especially in New York or closer to my side of the country, Portland, where the recent Antifa and Proud Boy rally was. Whatever you want to call that. So they should just get the money together, take donations from rich people interested in it, buy a plot of land, maybe even a majority of a state. It can be done. And try out a little socialist experiment. We could have a socialist society functioning within a free capitalist society. The opposite is simply not true. At least not in any socialist system that I've ever seen or could conceive of. There's too much authoritarianism involved. It would need to shut down the free enterprise to basically to continue keeping control. Whereas in a capitalist system, you're free to try it out. Now, if a socialist system arose that was self-sufficient in America, this poses a huge problem, and that, as Tim Pool has said, I'm sure it comes from other sources as well. In fact, I think he even cited them. That's just the most recent place I've heard the quote. One of the first steps towards a civil war or a civil conflict, especially an outright civil war, is the formation of separate economies and separate town squares, essentially separate meeting halls. Now, the separate meeting places is already achieved online through different social media platforms. Basically, some of them ban the people that they don't want there, and the people on those don't go to the others. So there's already kind of almost a segregation happening online. If a socialist economy formed and managed to function within America, this could be the next step towards a civil conflict that I think we would all like to avoid, but that I think is a lot less likely to happen in the information era, where we can have discussions with people on the other side at a moment's notice if they're willing to. I think that while lines of communication are closing down, as long as we can reopen them, and I believe we can, and as long as we can keep them open, we could have something like a functioning socialist or communist society side by side with our democratic republic, as long as, both were democratic, voted on the same laws, and followed the same rules. There might, of course, be some leeways economically on, different tax structures. This, of course, is where it gets complicated, which makes it more expensive on the government if things aren't handled properly, and they rarely are. So it's probably all just sweet utopian bullshit. But I definitely believe there's a possibility for humans to learn to communicate, as we have been doing for thousands of years, better than we currently communicate. Maybe something like the point of view gun from the end of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the movie, that lets us show other people how we really feel. That just because we might believe something like, just because one person believes that it's right to have a border along the wall doesn't mean that they're a racist. And if there was a way for them to make you actually feel that, I don't know whether it would be right for them to do so, but if people agreed to it, it would be a great way to keep lines of communication more civil if you actually knew what the other person was feeling. Are emoji the first step towards this? Well, potentially, actually, as much as that was a joke, given that Zuckerberg was interested in a project in sharing actual feelings and emotions alongside posts online, which may still be in research and development for all I know. I just read a couple of articles on it a couple of years ago. It could have been dropped, it could still be going. But regardless, we've learned new ways to communicate every century, if not every decade, whether it came to just sharpening our language or new technologies, pretty much all the way back through human history. We communicate better and better all the time when we're not actively shutting down those lines of communications. So I think the future will be more cooperative, more communicative. I think that if there is such a thing as a functioning socialist or communist society, it could exist inside a free, democratic, capitalist republic without problems, as long as there are proper lines and channels of communication between a group of people who might just want authority to take some of their worries and fears away from them, and a group of people whose worries and fears are that authority. So, utopian nonsense or not, I have hope for the future, and I think that what we're experiencing is a speed bump along the way. I get dark and I get angry, and sometimes when I talk about modern events, I might sound like there's no hope, but really what I believe when it comes to all of our issues, and we are facing plenty of them, is that there are solutions at hand once we focus on them and find them, and that everything's going to be fine. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, the sky was pretty tonight, so I thought I'd film that instead. I apologize for my phone deciding randomly to cut off my video halfway through. I have still yet to figure out why it occasionally decides to do that, and as these videos are unscripted, if I like the way that it was going, which I usually don't, then when it cuts it off, I continue. Or if it's getting late and I'm losing light. In this case, actually my light's fine. I've flubbed along the way, but I think this video went fine. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you want to. And you know what? I'm going to ask you to do me a favor if you like my videos. Go out and share this channel with, another person, 3 other people, however many you want to, but at least one other person. Or don't, whatever. Anyway, you know the drill. I'm your host, Cipher. Thank you for watching the Devil's Advocates Debate Club.